situation. So let's see how we can get into that. So we have a handout that I want you guys to take a look at these, and I think that's going to be something useful because you can always go back to that and kind of remember the conversation we had today. So once Deborah gives you that, I'll walk you through that. So we are going to start with the page that has the mind wandering. And we talked about the mind wandering in a normal meditation or breathing exercise that we do for bringing mindfulness to ourselves and awareness. We start with the fact that we want to focus on our breath. We can do other things, but we decided to focus on the breath in this workshop. So we want to focus on the breath. Our mind starts wandering, and then we get, our mind is wandering. We want to bring it back. That's kind of the circle. So look at this circle. So we have the mind wandering, we have the awareness, and we have the shift of the attention when we are breathing. Now, do we have anybody in here that can say, my mind doesn't wander? Awesome. But does your mind does not wander, or you are having more of a lack of attention? I mean, which one is that?
Well, I mean, for me, I don't wander and go into negative places like that.
What happens to you?
I mean, I'm a writer, so a lot of times if my mind does wander, it's going to things that I'm working on. So it may be something like, here's a plot point I need to work on, or this is something, so it's actually productive.
Very good. I'm glad you brought that up, because that is another piece that we need to be aware of. I am really glad Heather brought this up, because Heather is considering that not mind wandering. And while it is not going to unhappy places, it is still wandering, because your focus at that time is to be focused at the present. And if it is you're thinking about the plot of your story, you are using your brain. You are kind of using the creativity of your brain. So again, you have that mind wandering. And I'm so glad you brought that up. Even if the people who have been Zen monks for a long time, so they did a study of them, people who have lived their life. And the thing is that they are not in a position that they can say, my mind is not wandering, but they are in a position that they understand the lack of attention really quick. And that's what makes the difference between people who are starting a practice and people who have practiced for some time. So that is something to be aware of. Thank you for bringing it up so we can all get that. That's a good thing about the workshop. We can get all different perspectives. Now, let's see. Like Heather's mind goes to creative places. A lot of people's mind goes to not very creative places, but it still is a mind wandering. We want to see how we can change that, because for a lot of people it's the self-criticism that happens. Next slide. So self-criticism. Like for example, let me give you an example. The people who were with me in the first workshop, I shared with you about a client that I had that she, what happened to her, that I started doing this neuroscience of the self-compassion, that she was a person with anger management. We were working on building a meditation habit. And one day her husband called me her husband first emailed me a very angry email. Do you know what you're doing? And I was like, what did I do? And I called him, and he told me that she's in the hospital. And I was thinking, what could I have possibly done that would end her in the hospital? I mean, I never thought more deep breathing or more certain exercises can end a person in hospital. And it happened that the person had a low blood sugar, and the person skipped the lunch to do meditation, and the person passed out. So, okay, there is something in there. If she had this, maybe this, if we had worked on the self-compassion, it would have been different. But what I'm trying to say here, after that incident happened, what the feelings I had for myself, I was like, what the hell? Why didn't you think through this, Kathy? I mean, okay, you're experiencing, all right? So part of me is like, you're experiencing. Part of me is like, did you do anything wrong? Not really. Part of it is that maybe you need to understand people's certain health issues more deeply. So I had all of these thoughts going through my head, and I had a big self-criticism. Isn't your IT job much better than this? Because I have always worked in IT. Isn't that your IT job much better than this? You know, even if you make a mistake, it's a matter of dollars and cents and deadlines. You're not playing with anybody's life per se. So isn't going back to my IT job more exciting? In a way, you don't have that much responsibility. And then what happened? So I'm having all of these conversations. I want to tell you what happened. Because that is the same thing that I want you to go inside yourself and find that anchor for yourself. I was like, okay, why am I doing this? Why did I start going, what happened that I started going into this route? I was like, because you had a lot of pain, Kathy, and you discovered a way to get out of that pain cycle. Because I care about sharing that same journey with other people. Because I care. See, where is that? What is that I care? That's my intention. And when I thought about my intention of why I got into this journey, then I was like, yes, there are people who are suffering. Yes, there are people who are suffering from pain. Yes, there are people who are very disconnected from themselves. Yes, there are people who are not clear in their life what they want. And that's why you wanted to go into this journey, Kathy. Now get back on track and slap on myself and get back on track. But what I want to tell you is that I care for what part, which defines your intention. Like today, let me go back to today. Today is an emotionally loaded day. Because I have been jokingly telling my own daughter, if certain person gets into the office, we are moving to Ecuador. And we even made a joke out of it, we played around out of it, and as our things are folding out last night, she looks at me and says, Mommy, are we moving to Ecuador? And I'm like, goodness gracious. Okay, how do I handle that? So I had to look to myself and in the morning change my perspective around a certain person and a certain situation because of the self-love, because I care for her to see the world in a positive way even if I'm not feeling that way. So it's a matter of intention. So in here, I want us to go through an exercise that says, when I notice a certain something, I will do a certain something. Because that's how you're going to build your intention. And in here, when we are starting our breathing, any of us can have those moments that we are not happy with ourselves. We are human beings. And we want to be kind to ourselves because it's important to be kind to ourselves. Because if we are not kind to ourselves, the mindfulness and all of those things goes out of the window. Mindfulness, part of it is understanding ourselves, loving kindness, understanding our own feelings. So the intention part is very important. So think about what is it that you have a struggle with it in yourself. The self-criticism. Why did I feel like I'm stupid? Why did I feel like nobody likes me? I'm a loser. Whatever that has been. And use that intention and come up with this exercise. what is it, the self-criticism that is in you, and how do you define an intention, so that when you can have your breathing exercise, you can bring it back to where you started. And I think my time is up in here. I leave it in here. So you have the handout, play with it until we, thank you. And I give it to my friend, Eva Mary.
We're gonna, maybe have you here or there, whichever is most comfortable. Okay. Again, welcome. It's good to see everybody here, even amidst all of our storms, as well as fair weather, as well as foul weather, because that's today's mindfulness is about the feelings and how appropriate. So if you're ready, we're going to switch gears. Keep in mind, and thank you to Kati for delving and starting our guidance with how to delve into our default states of survivalism from the dinosaur era, but also planning and being creative so we are surviving and taking care of our children and our home and ourselves. This is all about how to guide your mind, and gently. I used in our first session, I used an example of treat your mind as a little newborn puppy you just got. And it's really, so joyful, and sometimes it gets really confused and runs into walls or slides across the floor and breaks something, and you might need to scold it and say, okay, and then come back over here and you might find more happiness or more safety, or you won't. So we got to treat our mind like a little puppy and keep bringing it back to train it to pedal or release on whatever is necessary, and keep working with it in that way. And today with the mindfulness of feelings, I've got a couple of exercises in mind that may serve all of us. And first and foremost is when you come up with these questions for yourself and you notice in your breathing throughout the day, because remember, no matter what you're feeling every day, you're in charge of your mind. That is what sets us apart as a species. We can reason, and if we allow our heart to guide our mind first, even if our mind is a runaway train, we can say, okay, breathe into that, what's that about? And remind yourself of the words. When I notice this feeling or this blockage or this pain, I will self-correct, or I will do what I call positivity switch. How can I do a positivity switch as much as possible? Because that's a gift you're giving yourself throughout the day. So you use your breath with that, and you breathe in whatever is supportive or meaningful to you to support yourself with these blockages and feelings. And you breathe out. Sometimes when we get very still, the solutions do present themselves, or the ideas, or the creativity ideas, or solutions to a problem. It's called the eureka aha moment. So it's interesting because Albert Einstein and some of the great thinkers would have power naps throughout the day. And that's how you can also, breathing, also the deep breathing we've done and keep working with, also simulates the same sensation and energy as a power nap within a 5-minute time. And that's been shown to be proven. So giving yourself this gift of deep breathing with intention, thoughtful words that support and filter all the storms and energies of feelings that we have throughout the day. And the quiet will bring more recharge, an aha moment perhaps, or an idea or a relief that, at least you control or can have a say-so in your own mindful thoughts. So with the feelings thing, we're going to try to put down all of our belongings as best we can and maybe come into a tighter circle. And this is, if you're comfortable, if you need to stay in the chair, it's okay. I invite you to come and let's be a,
And their yoga mats.
oh, yes, if you need more towels, more support, or whatever. And there's a few noticing, and this is, I will invite you to do this with your children, or your significant other, or animals, or plants even. I mean, these energies are proven to work with all energies in all entities. Everything is the vibrational frequency, and when we set our intention with our frequency with our mind, then something shifts with our breathing and our mind and our heart, and it's a bridge. So, do you want to join us, Deborah, or stay with her?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just,
back.
just in
Yes.
case if I need to troubleshoot,
So-
I don't wanna.
You find your comfortable space, and I welcome you to find your space or claim your space, even where you're walking. Say, sometimes I just sit under a tree, or sometimes I sit in the middle of a busy mall. It's funny, something happens. Sometimes I sit and do this on top of my SUV with music blaring at the bike path. And amazing things can happen with your energy, with your intention, with your breathing. And the first thing is about tuning in versus tuning out. Because we can't always control outside of us. We can only be responsible and hold ourselves within. And tuning in helps us handle all this out here. So when this is something you can do with your children, and we're going to focus on there's different energy centers of the body, and basically when you're tuning out, most default process is to tune out. When it's uncomfortable, run away. That's the fight, flight, or freeze, survival reptilian mode. And while we do have lizards in our brain, we can work with them and guide them, or replace them and say, okay, I'm not being threatened really at this moment, I'm not about to die. However, the energies and the feelings at times can feel that. So the mind believes whether it's real or not. So when we watch movies, games, or exposed throughout the day with what we're reading, a book, that's why it feels so real. It's the feelings. So I invite you to take the time out with yourself first, and then make a planned moment for your family, or you and your children, or whatever. The closeness and the energy that you can share can make a big difference. So we're going to just close our eyes, and we're going to say, okay, my wonderful body and brain, you are amazing universal computer that processes and filters so much energy every day. And we're going to thank our bodies and our minds and our hearts for just being who you already are and who you get to discover that you are becoming. We're going to breathe that awareness in and try to breathe out, audibly or not. And next time when you breathe in to tune in, we're going to tune into our lower chakra, which is red. And think of smells that are red, and tastes that are red, and thoughts that are red. And we're going to breathe into our redness, cherryness, the smell of cherries, the smell of apples, anything that you think of, strawberries that are red, that serve what it feels like. What does red feel like to you? Into it and notice what is red, and breathe out. We're going to move up to our orange areas. Orange, what is orange? What's it feel like? What's it smell like? What's it taste like? So you want to tune into all the thoughts and sensations that you feel surrounding orange, and remember that. And sometimes, if your chakra, the energy center just about around your navel feels funny, try focusing on orange, anything orange. Orange is your sacred self area. It's It's what makes you feminine or masculine, and both combined, because we all have feminine, yin and yang energy in our bodies. And we're gonna move up to our solar yellow, the sun, lemons, the taste of lemons, the feel of the sunshine, yellow flowers, yellow roses, what they smell like, feel like, taste like. We just notice. When we focus on these feeling sensations associated with the color, it helps to guide our mind in a way that it goes tuning inward instead of out. We're going to move up into our chest and heart chakra, which is our heart support and green. Green is growth, grass, green. Whatever is green about your heart space, feel the green. It can even be money. Green is to be helpful in your feelings of anything heart related. Heart and green. And you can blend that with pink, which is also heart. Green and pink. What's pink and green to you? We're gonna just notice and feel how that energy feels in your chest and heart chakra. And next, the big one, your blueberry throat. What's going on with that truth area? What words or sounds and vocalizations, internal and external, do you feel that's blue? Think of cobalt blue or baby blue. Blueberries, the smell of the ocean when it's very deep blue. Cleansing energy of a deep blue sky combined with the deep blue ocean. Our feelings are like water and they flow. Our truth is in our throat. Then we're going to move up again to purple, which is our third eye of intuition and our headspace. And it's purple. Think of anything magenta, purple, purplish, grapes, purple pansies, purple, what else is purple? Eggplant. What's the flavor that you associate with purple? What's the feeling sensation of purple for you? And each time as you do your check-in, it can be very brief or it can be long, depending on what your intention is with tuning inward to yourself. When you need to soothe each zone, wherever you